Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation, man. Hey, I'm in a new phase of parenting. I got two boys. I got a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I find myself watching YouTube videos on like gymnastics because my boys are super interested in doing gymnastics now. They like to do flips and stuff. I like the trampoline park, and been super intrigued with cartwheels and all this stuff. And then I've never played baseball growing up. I was a basketball, track, and football guy. So I find myself, learning drills and hitting drills and hitting technique and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm in this phase of trying to teach myself all these different elements in these different sports that I've never played. Obviously, being an athlete, you can kind of transition some stuff. But when it comes to these very technical sports, man, I find myself on YouTube a lot looking at a lot of different stuff. And it's kind of wild seeing my little guys grow as fast as they are and then transition into all these different sports. I want to be able to, educate them and teach them some stuff. So I've been trying to get myself going in that area. But it's going to be interesting. My boys have their first gymnastics practice tonight. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. See my boys do some flips and stuff. They already got that down on the trampoline right now, but we'll see them really transition in and become more confident. I've been trying to get them to do some pull-ups too, and I've been training with them and stuff in our little gym we have in our garage. But anyways, going to touch on this, man. There's a lot of good stuff in this video that we're going to cover. We're going to start with this video here from DAI. It says, Senator Kennedy, you asked the wrong question. You should have asked how many meetings Gary had with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and what they were planning. FYI, Gary's public calendar is missing many months. So I just want to put a little segment of this 6-minute clip here because it's going to be and it's going to encompass the entirety of what this video video clip is about. Let's listen in real quick.
I would say that the whole field has hurt more Americans than it should.
Yeah, but I'm talking about FTX. I mean, we can look back at FTX. I mean, Senator Durbin made this point. And we have this elaborate, complex regulatory machinery, the SEC, which I support, which is supposed to guarantee transparency and combat fraud. And any fair-minded person has to look at FTX and Mr. Bankman-Fried and these kids and go, what in God's, where was everybody? Where was the SEC?
And I would say,
look at his face. He just baffled. That's literally how we felt in the community. Like, where in the hell was the SEC? Seriously, why are you going after all these actors way after the fact, after the devastation's already happened, right? But then you get with the little settlement they had with Kim Kardashian, right? And that's a huge victory. Come on, man. There's billions on the table, right? That was left on the table, and there's a lot of thousands and thousands of investors that's been torched by your lack of true regulation and true following your job, the description within your job, protecting investors in capital formation and protecting markets, right? You failed to do your job. I mean, damn, that was such a good, just a quick representation of how we feel, right? We're going to continue on here. There's been a lot of shade still thrown at Judge Torres' ruling in the SEC versus Ripple case. It says the fact on the XRP ruling. This was JD and Lewis in their interview they had the other day.
Let me ask you this. There was a lot of criticism that her decision should be overturned because it's inconsistent. I heard the word backwards, perverse is another word, because she found investment contracts with the institutional sophisticated sales, but not the exchange sales. And just as someone who knows the law as well as you do, what's your response when someone says, oh, it's inconsistent, so she got it wrong?
Balderdash. It's just, that's just people, that's a sore loser. That's just a sore loser. I'm sorry. You got it wrong. And now you're kind of grasping at straws here.
Enough said. Shout out Lewis Cohen there. Absolutely. He's just a sore loser. We're going to continue on here. This is Bank Reg Blog. It says, after a couple of requests for extensions and giving its opinion on whether syndicated loans are securities today, the SEC says it can't tell the court what its opinion is. Sorry. Meta Lawman says the SEC played an important role in helping to establish supremacy of U.S. capital markets over the course of the last century. Now the SEC hard-earned credibility seems to be ebbing away. Poor leadership can do that. This is getting embarrassing. Stuart Alderati even hits on, he says, it's outrageous that in today's Senate hearing, Mr. Gensler again misstates the law in the Howey test, suggesting that tokens standing alone are investment contracts. is the SEC really going to continue to be allowed to peddle these falsehoods, right? So just what Meta Lawman says, literally their credibility is slowly ebbing away, right? Going to continue on here. Bill Morgan says, I would prefer the opinion of an esteemed judge and legal mind over that of the politically motivated SEC chair. Remember, Chairman Gensler's really focused in on his career investment. And we know that he's in the Wall Street, the incumbents' pockets. And, he's just a puppet, right? Continues. It says, the judge's opinion is currently the law on whether XRP itself is a security. Gensler's opinions are just his personal opinions. So goes the usual SEC disclaimer. It's crazy that we have so much to talk about with just like Ripple, SEC, and XRP itself. There's so much more in the crypto market, but it seems like this is like all the hot stuff and the things that really intrigue me. So we're going to continue to cover it, man. Continuing on here, JD's responding to that Bank Reg blog. It says the SEC is a broken institution that's not an opinion. That's a fact, not debatable at this point. A regulator who refuses to provide any real guidance, not only to market participants, but also appellate courts, also all because it wants to maintain an opaque or vague regulatory environment, allowing it to prosecute anything or anyone in the future, is an agency that needs to be overhauled. Let's not forget the Office of General Counsel also advised Hinman that he should not declare ETH a non-security. So remember the William Hinman theorem-free pass speech, right, on the Yahoo conference or whatever it was. It says, he continues, not because it was a security or because it's unfair to pick the winners, but because it might limit the SEC's ability to go after ETH in the future. That kind of attitude is an absolute disgrace. So this is what I really wanted to cover right here. But because it might limit the SEC's ability to go after ETH in the future. Remember, I just covered Jimmy Valley had a couple tweet threads where he was talking about how the earlier days when it came to the ETH ICO, the disguised wells and all that stuff, right? How the early day sales of Ethereum is a security, right? Especially per the SEC versus Ripple verdict from Judge Torres when it comes to the status of XRP being a non-security, but then the violation that Ripple had in regards to the early sales to the institutions being a security, right? It's the same thing. Look at this, man. We got some movement here. This from CoinDesk. It says, a wallet that received over 61,000 ETH at the initial coin offering ICO in 2015 transferred the entire amount to a wallet linked to crypto exchange Kraken. Blockchain data shows. So really put this into perspective. If we see more wallets like this moving, which we're going to see it, it's on the blockchain, right? If more wallets like this are moving, something's happened. Someone knows something. The words got out. People could be, running for the hills in a sense when it comes to these so-called disguised wells. And there's been a lot of speculation within our community, us trying to connect the dots on who we think these disguised wells are. I think we may not know exactly, but I think we're pretty much in the ballpark, if you will, of whether it's a company like an entity or an individual or individuals like we've been talking about said individuals and groups and companies, right? All you got to do is go to the Ethereum Free Pass timeline and all that stuff, and you can pretty much pick them out at that point. But I wonder if we're ever going to really know who the disguised wells are and what is the impact that had on the entire broader market, right? And what are the violation and implications that these people could endure, or will there be any violations, and will anybody be held accountable? We'll see. Obviously they went after the early days of Ripple and their sales. We'll see. This is huge right here. This is from David Schwartz. It says XRP trading volume as a percentage of a market cap is 4 times higher than BTC. I'm not sure if that's good, bad, interesting, or meaningless. Man, we're going to continue on. There's a lot of fire here. This is, I'm not going to play this clip, but this is Tony Edwards from Thinking Crypto and Joe Endoso, the COO at Link2. It says banks will use XRP. Quote, it will clear the path for banks to use ODL XRP. Quote, it means that there will be significantly more demand for XRP. So there is so much we can talk about this in regards of, we can speculate based on all the connections we've been seeing with Ripple and their 8 times plus growth that they had, year over year. And since the drop of the lawsuit, we know about all their partnerships and what's been happening. What about the partnerships we don't know about? When are those going to come out? Is it going to be, starting to spill out, or, put it like this? Are we turning on the faucet just a little bit to where it starts, dropping out? Right. And then we slowly turn it on more over time, and it starts pouring out until it's open all the way. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like we're going to get some more unknown, and I'm putting air quotes up there, some unknown partnerships that might be massive. I mean, we've been speculating about maybe a potential Amazon and the likes, who knows? But when it comes to the banks, we know that they're going to use, the ODL, right? It's too beneficial for them not to, right? Continuing on here, this is from Riz XRP. Shout out Riz XRP, man. It says Ripple's latest report let this sink in. 250 trillion by 2027 in cross-border payments alone, right? It says the value of cross-border payments is expected to reach 250 trillion by 2027, and the advantages of global payments powered by crypto are readily apparent. Furthermore, than half of global payments and treasury professionals point to faster payments and cost savings as the top two reasons to incorporate crypto in their cross-border payments business. So obviously tomorrow, I think Fed Now goes live tomorrow. The 20th tomorrow. So yeah, I think Fed Now goes live tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that. As the days go and the week come on, I mean, there's just going to be more positives. Even moving over here, this is interesting from Shannon Thorpe. It says, let's talk about XRP. A few of you have asked about price prediction, time frames, etc. While no one can predict price, I will say, and I think we all know this, the price of XRP cannot be cheap. What's more, retail will be priced out of XRP at some point. I see a lot of nonsense online regarding, quote, the price is going to jump in the crash because everyone is going to sell. While that may be your theory, here's mine. Retail only makes up 1% of the XRP space, but by the time the Fed, banks, businesses, etc., start putting their money into it, that 1% of retail is going to look like a minnow in the ocean, a minnow in the ocean. That's 1% will not fluctuate the price at all. A large quantity of XRP facilitates a large quantity of banks, whilst high price allows for higher transactions with less XRP. There's only so much XRP. That is my opinion. Timeframes, again, something that cannot be predicted. However, with Fed Now going live July 12th or July 20th, I would assume that they cannot be the only one going live. Whatever the Fed does, banks must follow because that is how they communicate back and forth. Whatever banks choose to do, their businesses, customers must follow because that is how they communicate with the banks. This is what I deal with in the treasury management, quote, money movement, and the connections that make money movement. Allow me to explain further on that. I previously worked for Wachovia in the cash vault. If you're really behind the times, Wachovia was bought out by Wells Fargo, I believe, in 2009. In the cash vault, they use a system called Glory. I eventually left several years later and then worked at Loomis as the balance and auditor in cash operations. They also use Glory. Fast forward 15 years later, I went back to the initial cash vault to find that they still using the same Glory system. This system was also how Fed shipments of currency could be placed. What I'm getting at is I would be very surprised if the Federal Reserve were the only ones going live this Thursday. Throughout my banking career, I have noticed that whatever the Fed does, the banks will follow. That's basically the reason why banks close on holidays, because the Fed is closed. Banks are for profit. Why would any company stop operations because of the holidays if they are for profit? Think about it. Now, could I be totally wrong on this? Possibly, and that's going to suck if I am. However, I have seen a lot throughout my 15 plus year career in banking, and we are finally entering a new era. I mean, let that sink in, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, do with it what you will. I mean, it's just interesting. It's just adding more fuel to the fire, in my opinion. This is DAI says the only digital asset with legal clarity. And I think we were just under 85 cents today as our high. Hey, this is it looks better than in the 40 cents. This is just the early days, right? That's huge. This is from Charles Gasparino. So remember, he put up this tweet here saying, with victories like this, who needs losses? Sad, huh? With the 72 cents. And then he goes, now the XRP is at 82 cents. Who's retiring? Sad, huh? Interesting, right? So then coming over here, BC Backer, I think he kind of slaps that narrative that Charles Gasparino was talking about in the face, because it's like he says, quite simple setup to watch. So long as XRP is above 71.3 cents, all eyes on it continuing higher. Lose that, back to the drawing board. So he's pretty much, what he's saying is, if we hold above the 71.3 cents or whatever, there's high probability we're going higher, right? And we're looking solid. And I think he has this comparison here. So he was saying that if we lost that, right, then obviously he was talking about retesting maybe like the mid to I want to say mid to low 50s, and then, you know, obviously retesting that, we bounce off that, and then we go higher from there. So just more excitement, man. If you don't follow BC Backer, make sure you do. I'm sure you do, though. And then I wanted to shout out Bearable Bull and BC Backer. They did a collab, and I only got like halfway through it before I had to make this video, but I'm excited to finish it. And I'm going to end on this one. This is our current presidential candidate here. Says, at just $11, XRP takes the top spot from BTC. It's not an if, it's a win. Your best guess win below. Hey, man, it's exciting days ahead, man. We're currently sitting at a $1.24 trillion market cap. Bitcoin sitting at 29,947. Ethereum sitting at 1893, and XRP sitting at 83 cents. Bitcoin Fair Green Index sitting at a 50. We're at a neutral. Man, I'm really excited about the future of obviously XRP, Ripple, and just the entire space, man. We fought the good fight. We're going to continue to fight the good fight and do what's right for us, for our families, for this space, and, you know, the growth, health, innovation, and prosperity within the space, and for ourselves, man. It's huge. Make sure you come to the Crypto is Key Conversation YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Crypto is Key 1. I really appreciate your support out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.